What's up, world? So, OG Hakeem coming from the great city of Milwaukee. You know, uh, I guess what we like to talk about today are some of the things that we were trying to cover beforehand about the ability to, for us, me, you, to work together, to build. I think that the benefits I have is a number of years behind me where I can look and I can compare what's going on in today's 2020 as opposed to the way things were, back in the 90s. Everybody talks about the 90s because the 90s, I'm not going to lie, man, that was a good era, right? You know, I'm not going to say the music sounded better, but I think people were more diligent in their craft. I love what they're doing today, man. I love some of the newer artists out, right? I can't lie, I like those guys, and I appreciate that they've taken this craft to another level. That's something we're gonna talk about at a later date. This is just so that we can get to know each other, me, you, and try to come up with some type of game plan. And when I say game plan, I mean my goals are to, work with as many people and engage with as many people as I can. Like I said, I'm entering my seventh decade, and I know I keep promoting that, but what I want to promote is the fact that you're never too old to achieve, if you have a dream. You're never too old to see your vision to fruition. So, I've spent a lot of times working, 40. Man, I've been an hourly worker for a long time. I've had some stints as a manager, but I understand the nature of what an hourly worker, and I use the term hourly worker so that that's everybody knows what hourly worker. You go in, you punch in, right? You work 8. Sometimes you work 12. Sometimes you do a double, and that's what I'm really talking to. I'm talking to those people who are sitting on the fence, right? You have an ideal. You want to start a business and you want to do something different. You want to bring something into your life, right? So, like I said, I'm just getting started. I'm learning. I'm pulling everything together. In fact, the new technology is new to me. I don't even know how to set up the social media. Not that I don't know how to set it up. I've had Facebook before. I've had that. I've never had Twitter or Instagram. Never saw the benefits in it for me, And I just never see, how you could use it in a positive way. I mean, social media, if it's used in the right way, can build, but if it's used in the wrong way, it can tear down. I see that all the time, right? How people have been hurt through social media. And when I say hurt, I've seen a number of instances where people get on social media, they have conflict with a person, and that conflict leaves out of cyberspace into the real world. We all know what that means, right? And, that's what I mean by when I say I never saw a benefit in it for me until now, right? And the key is that I'm getting toward my retirement age, right? And, wow, man, I need to work on the ways, right? Man, I still got the ways, oldest, and I still got the ways. But, that's not here or there. I got, let me stop regressing and stop rambling. What I would like to do is like I'm saying, work with you. If you're watching this, if you ever had any aspirations, like I say, people are sitting on the fence. You might be the person, you have like your vision idea and you want to create a business, right? But you don't know where to get the money from to start the business. Where do you get the capital, right? Right? Okay, that's some of the things we're going to talk about. So over the next year, like I said, I laid it out before and I'll state it again. We're going to do this over a 12-month period. Me, you, maybe the world. We're going to create a do-it-yourself type of environment where and I see it already. It's happening where you can transition from being a consumer to a producer, a worker to a manager, or a business owner, or where you fall in between that. Like, I don't have any answers right now, but I know if we work together, we can build, and that's the reality. And I'm looking at all the new technologies out there, man. Bruh, if I'd had this access to this technology in the 90s, it would have been on. But I can't go back to the 90s, but we can do today, using that new technology that was has to, that for what hasn't been done before. You know, I've been really getting into these the computers and the operating systems like Windows, and then they have another operating system called Linux, right? And this Linux thing, as I dig deeper into it, and I'm seeing the advantages of learning how to use this, right? It's something that you can create, and we're gonna go into that more. I'm gonna lay everything out at some point within the next 30 days, because, like I said, by June we're gonna go live, and we're gonna talk about what that means. So the key right now is that if you, right, if you have ambition, if you have desire, if you're ready to work hard, you can achieve any goal that you set out to achieve. That's a given. I put my word on it. If this is something that you can see yourself getting into, and when I say getting into, the concept of do for yourself, and I've said that, and I started to see that years ago, where when the manufacturing base left out of this country, we moved overseas to low cost markets where you could bring in somebody to do the same job you were doing, where they were paying you 12, 13, 14, $15 an hour. This person was going to do it for 5, 6, or $7, without benefits. They had to pay us benefits. They don't pay these people benefits. So I'm not mad at them. Business is business, right? You take your business to the best situation, or you put your business in the best situation that can make that business sustainable, profitable. And if you have shareholders, that you can take care of your shareholders and your employees. I'm not mad at them. I'm not mad at companies leaving to go and find themselves a better situation. That just creates opportunities for us, right? Because when the big companies leave, that means little companies can come in and reestablish, right? We can start a number of small businesses. Like, it's nothing to create a business today. I mean, like, you create a business online, a storefront that can sell any product you can imagine, from cars or houses, right? Online. So with that, right, we can create databases, right? Create virtual reality environments, and that's something else we're going to talk about. But I would suggest that everybody get up, man. Remember, knowledge is power. I know it sounds like I'm rambling right now, because normally I have my notepad here and I'll go step by step and I'll take it down like that. And we're going to do that. But right now, this is just me being comfortable, getting comfortable, and, figuring out exactly how this is all going to work out. Because, like I said, the goal is to connect. And once you connect, you can build. And, man, I've said it before. When I first started watching, I was like watching the conscious community, right? And there was a lot of cats up in there, man. And these are smart dudes. I mean, these are cats that could teach in any university, right? Oxford, right? Harvard. I mean, they're that intelligent. And they're self-taught. Man, they could tell you about the cosmos, right? About the human physiology, right? And I learned a lot. But after a while, I started to see there was discontent. Maybe that was due to ego. I don't know. I know I got an ego, so I'm sure they have an ego too. We all have egos, right? I have pride, and I don't let my pride get in the way, That's the one thing I try not to do. And I've gotten so much better at it. I mean, I didn't start out because I'm susceptible to everything that everybody else is, right? I pretty much put myself in every position that everybody else has put themselves in, and had to get out of positions, right? But I will say this, a lot of situations I found myself in, it was because of my ability to articulate that saved the day. We'll go into that later. And so, I'm going to try to wrap this up because, I'm not that long-winded. And this is just so that we can get some of the word out. I have a number of people that at some point are going to, introduce themselves. And we're just the core, the nucleus. But you, if you're watching, man, and my ladies, if you're watching and you really want to do something different, remember, building wealth is a team effort. So if you really are sincere, if you're a parent and you want to secure your children's future and you want to pass on some wealth to them, you have to work and create that wealth. And that's what this is about. So OG Hakeem is about building wealth, working with my brothers and sisters. When I say brothers and sisters, I'm not just talking about black. I mean, me, personally, that's my opinion. I think we're connected. Every single human being, all 7 billion of us, are connected on some subatomic level through our genetic code, and that's some of what we really have to work on. We spend way too much on conflict, way too much time and energy on conflict. That's just what I've seen lately. And I only see a small slice of reality. This is my personal slice of reality. So there's a lot that I miss. And so that's where you come in. We help each other out. What I miss, you pick up on. What I pick up on, you might miss. So it's like this team effort where if you know how to do one thing and I know how to do another thing, now we have something to work with, right? I mean, that's common sense. There's a lot of people on YouTube, and like I said in the beginning, it's what my father told me, right? Small minds talk about people. Average minds talk about events. Great minds talk about ideals, right? In my opinion, there's a million people that can tell you what's wrong, what's going on, why we're in the situation we're in. If we are in that situation, I don't agree with that. We'll talk about that some more. Rarely do I see people who sit down and talk about the solutions. If you're dealing with a economic problem, you have to have skills to get out of that situation, and the skills that you need are economics. You might need to know about how money works. I wish as a kid I knew about how money works, right? What is fiat money? Just look some of that up. Like I'm saying again, knowledge is power, right? Once you get the knowledge, you can take that knowledge and you can build with knowledge, right? You can build a platform, you can build an infrastructure, right? And as we, move further into the year and see the changes that are taking place, I think that will push people to learn how to create, right? Because, I can see how the standards have changed in just the last 30 years. And say if you're under 30 years old, you might not see it. If you're under 40, you might not see it. For every good change, there was a bad change. For every bad change, there was a good change, So sometimes you have to look at, the glass as half full, not half empty. And that comes back to, so to tie this all in, this is about self-reliance, doing for self, working together, rebuilding, because I guarantee you, the way things look, we're going to need to do a lot of rebuilding in the future, right? A lot of rebuilding. I think, especially with the latest situation with the virus, man, that's disrupting a lot. It's messing with people's money, and that has to be made up. So, I think there's a sense of desperation, a sense of uncertainty, what will happen next. Just from my experience, and my time on this planet, my 60 years on the planet, I've learned that human beings are resilient, that we pretty much can come back from anything. And I'll say this is just my opinion. I think that there is a problem, that this virus does create some problems, but I don't think it is as dangerous as people are making it out to be. It's, at the end of the day, it's still a single cell organism, right? We're multi-complex organisms. I think that, we have to, keep things and put them in the right perspective. If you have some pre-existing condition and your white cell count is down, which means that your immune system is probably not up to full strength, yeah. The elderly, yeah. The very young, who are susceptible, definitely. But if you are healthy, and you eat right, you work out, right? And your immune system. I mean, if you get to a certain age, you're going to know whether or not you're susceptible to colds or any ailments. I don't get a lot of colds. I'm not going to lie. I can go years without having a cold or anything of that nature. I can't remember last time, right? So that probably says that my immune system is pretty tight, because whether or not we know, our immune systems are always under attack. That's just a part of life. And the key is that, when your immune system or your cell count is really low, and there are many reasons it could be low, right? I can't tell you. I'm not a doctor. I know a lot about, a lot of basic stuff. I've read technology, economics. I wouldn't call myself an expert. You know what they say about an expert? If you spend 25,000 hours studying a particular subject, you can become an expert. I think it's a little less. You know what I'm saying? I've just been studying, the Linux environment for maybe a year, and I've gotten like the first time I'm looking, I was like, I didn't understand, and as I got into it, I'm like, wow, my eyes are getting like, I'm like, wow, what you could do with this. So I'm thinking to myself, if we had a team of people and we could show them, a set of courses, my father, he set up a school in our basement when we were kids. He went out to get the board and everything. Went to got people to donate books, old books. And his idea, and I think it was from the fact that he had to leave school before he could graduate high school. He left school in the 10th grade so that he could help out. This was in the 40s. Yeah, 40s. So he could help out the family. It was just him and my grandmother and my uncle. My grandfather wasn't around at that time. But I think his thing was education because his lack of formal education and it didn't hinder. But I think on a pride level, every man has a sense of pride. So, that was one of the things that stuck with him. And he always puts education on me. Read as much as you can. He said readers are leaders. So I got to the point where I would read everything. I had to sit in the bathroom reading a little twos or like reading. It became a habit. I couldn't go without reading. I couldn't go a day without reading something. Not because I wanted to read, but because a habit had been formed in me as a young person to the point where it just became habit. It's like, you know what it's like? It's like when you leave your phone at home and you feel, your day, you feel imbalanced, right? Like, okay, you can't say why, but it became a habit. You had your phone at you every day. You had it on you all the time. You could be, somebody could contact you. And I do understand that if you're a mother and you have children, that you have to have it. But if you're, like me, I leave mine at home just because I didn't want to become attached to it. Got to the point where I just gave it up because at some point, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't want people to be able to contact me at any time. Like, how people are, well, why didn't you answer your phone, right? I don't have a phone, right? I don't have a phone. And so, that was one of the main things said technology was gonna free us up, right? I'm not saying it didn't free us up, but I'm saying it put you on point at all times. Like, especially, man, when your employer can catch you at any time and you can't just ignore their calls forever, right? Ain't gonna keep calling if they really need you. Back in the day, couldn't get in touch, right? Only phone was on the, everybody know that phone on the kitchen wall, right? You had it on the wall or in the living room or wherever. It was one phone, right? It may have 3 lines, but it was one phone line. You could get lost. Today you can't get lost, man. People can't get in touch with you through your phone or something's wrong, right? And that's the prevailing wisdom. So, like I'm saying, let's build together, let's work together, let's use these new technologies to create new wealth, and something as simple as just opening you up a Bitcoin account. And we're gonna do that. Like everything I'm talking about, we're gonna do it together. We're going to sit here one day and we're going to create the Bitcoin accounts, create your Bitcoin wallet, right? And we'll get into that more. We're going to set you up with your own personal server using the Raspberry Pi. Raspberry Pi is a computer system. It's what you call a single, a small drive computer. I'll look that up. I'm not sure the terminology of it. Like I say, I'm not really big on terminology. I dig into something, and the way it works for me is that I have to be able to conceptualize it. Like if you tell me about a certain process and you're using certain terms, I might not be able to catch the terms, but if you describe the process to me, I can visualize it and actually see the wheels turning, right? I would suggest everybody do it. It's called visualization. And it's a useful tool. These are all tools, what you use to, make better decisions. So, having said that, like I'm saying, I want to just shout out, the conscious community. And when I say, and I'm promoting the conscious community, because even with all the conflicts, man, you can see the intelligence and the wisdom, man. You know what I'm saying? Some of these guys are amazing. And, I'm just going to shout it out. And, I'm trying to become a part of that community, because I have a lot to give, a lot to teach. And I have a lot to learn. So, I'm going to quit rambling. I just want to say, have a good day. You know what I'm saying? Read a little more, work out a little more, and just pray. You know, and like I'm saying with the virus, don't be too concerned. Monitor yourself, because if you know from past experience how susceptible you are. So we have to take all that into account. But having said that, peace. I'll see you later.